preparing for the fight. Let's go through your workouts for somebody that's preparing for a fight, and let's go through the food because I want to end with the cutting of the weight to get there. So how am I going to prepare for a fight if I'm an amateur fighter or even a pro fighter?
Well, I think as an amateur, you have to look at it like you're a professional. That's the whole point. It's a preparedness for you to be able to treat that amateur event or that fight like you're a pro.
Okay.
So you have to take it as seriously as if it was a pro fight and you're getting paid to do it.
Okay.
You know, first of all, you have to psychologically, you have to look at yourself, be in the right headspace. When you're selected to become a part of that event or have a fight, you have to know that, you know, you look at your opponents, which sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. As a professional, you always do your research and your due diligence, right? But as an amateur, sometimes you don't have that opportunity because you may be fighting somebody that doesn't have any footage out there or anything. So you have to just look within yourself and know to yourself that when you finish that camp, you're mentally prepared no matter who's standing in front of you.
Okay.
So, I mean, we usually do 6 to 8 weeks, depends on, hopefully we have that allowance. I always tell my guys to always stay ready because as a promoter and putting on my own shows, we'll start with 30 fights. And by the time the show comes, we'll have, if we're lucky, 10.
Oh,
so
you're not prepared, eh?
No, yeah. And
stay prepared.
Yeah, and as an amateur, you know, some of them, they don't take it seriously. So they're like, oh, I'm not feeling it. And then they'll tell us as a promoter, and now we have to find somebody to fill them in.
Yeah.
So I tell my fighters always, make sure you're always prepared, stay in shape.
Okay.
And then, you know, worst case scenario, 3-4 weeks out, you can start preparing.
So that camp, the 6 to 8 week camp, the little that I've learned from talking to mixed martial artists, you're training every day.
Yes.
You're training every day.
Not every day, but most
days, and you're training twice a day.
Yeah.
You're doing your cardio. You're doing your. Are you doing weights?
Yeah, you do your strength training as well. Yeah.
Strength training, and then your mixed martial arts where you're doing like the simulated fighting.
Yes.
Okay, so what's happening with the food? We all want to know. In that camp, what's happening for the food?
I mean, everybody's different. Some people, they can get away with, I have one amateur of mine that doesn't eat vegetables, which is my ultimate goal as a professor is to make sure he eats vegetables.
Okay.
So whether he's sleeping at night, preparing for his fight, I'll shove some broccoli down his throat, whatever I need to do. But I mean, everybody's different. I mean, the biggest thing is it's all about recovery, right? That's important.
Okay.
So, you know, I tell all the guys, make sure you have a good meal in the morning. That's your energy. That's your fuel source.
Okay.
So that's when you're gonna have your carbs and everything else. I mean, it depends on the stage of the camp as well. In the beginning, you can be a little bit more loosey-goosey with your food, and then start tightening it up as you get closer to when you're having to start cutting the weights.
Okay. Does tightening up mean remove all sugars, all simple carbs? Are we doing that?
I mean, it depends on some people, right? Like some people, they can, they can't. I would say that it's just about eating clean. It's preparing your meals. The biggest thing that I tell my guys is meal prep. If you're gonna do it, you know exactly what you're eating, the quantity that you're eating, and you take that part of the equation out of your daily routine.
Okay, so you have them on a calorie restricted diet?
Yeah, sometimes. It depends. Like I said, again, it depends on the person, what amount of weight they're cutting. Like I have some guys that don't cut any weight at all. They'll fight at where they want to fight at. I don't recommend it, but it depends on where their best performance is.
Okay.
When you're cutting 20, sometimes 30 pounds over a camp, you're a completely different person at that weight. So by the time you get down to say you're at 175 and you're fighting at 155, you cut that weight over your camp through your diet and your training, your cardio, you know, your Epsom salts baths, and then, you know, if you have to do a water load the last week, you do the water load. You make the weight the 24 hours before the event, and then you have to rehydrate yourself properly. So